So we don't really need words, but sometimes they come out. Sometimes birds is singing, sometimes a car is ding ding, sun is coming, going down. All is happening like that. So the self is expressing itself. Sometimes we don't like something in the expression. So it's the nature of the separate self, I, to like and dislike, push and pull. So it's its nature. We tend to try to correct that, to think it's wrong, to like and dislike, but it's the nature of the separate I to make this. I like, I don't like, this good, bad. So even words which we don't need is not disturbing what we are, the self, or you can call it however you like. So talking, not talking, meditating, not meditating, Tiru, Vanamalai, or in the west, in the east, in the north. So nothing disturbs that. And we can even dream anything. Does not affect this. So that's why we call it the Lila of God, the play of God in India, because it's just a play, an expression, manifestation. And if we get trapped in the game of trying to change the expression, we are doing that in the dream of time and space. So it's also not wrong, because it's part of the game that I tend to change and control. So, but to understand from where this control is coming, from the beginning, before the beginning there is no good and bad. But in the beginning, with the beginning, come separation, and come good and bad, come the need of attention, of love, of everything, which seems to not be there, because I am separate, so I need so many things. So it's a natural movement of the separate energy to feel that I need to be full. I need to be one with my beloved. I need to reach God. I need to find the truth. I need to feel good all the time. So because you don't feel like that, you feel not full, not satisfied. So it's a very natural state of a separate I, or me, you can call it like that. So, or person like that. So the message here would be to, instead of trying to control the dream, to look at what is prior to the beginning. So we can give it any name, but it doesn't matter what name we can call it. The Tao, nature of Buddha, God, the self, whatever, Shiva, absolute Shiva, like that. So the name is not important, and the other words are also not important. The words also an expression pointing to that which is already here, that we are always that. So when this is heard, maybe it can be recognized. So we can call it self-recognition. So that recognizes itself. So it's not coming from the mind, body-mind, or understanding. So maybe so many teaching will bring that clarity with explanation, understanding. But this message is more like addressed to something else, which is in spite of any expression. And in this we say you are already that. What you are seeking outside, because you don't feel full as a separate I, what you are seeking outside, you will never find. Because you are that what you are seeking. So it's a funny game to look for yourself outside, in a separate self, which is a reflection, a mirror of the absolute self that you are. So, but like if there was many plates of on the maybe metal on the floor, many plates, and one sun is shining on every plate, and you look at all the plates and you see so many sun, and you go to every plate and different shape of plates, and oh, that one is good, oh no, that one is good, and you never think about looking up from where it's coming from. So in that sense we could say that it's all a reflection of what we are, but we are looking the opposite direction, outside, in the object. But if we look from where it's coming from, the attention, to the perceiver or the subject, I, who is perceiving all the object, then you might trace back from where that original sun is coming from, with the original light of whatever you can call it. So that's a good pointer, this metaphor of the plate, because when we look for an ice cream, we are sure that it will satisfy us, but after some time, for some time it is there, but then it is gone. And everything we find in the world is satisfying for some time, but then the plate is taken out, away. So because nothing is permanent, every plate is temporary. So that's why it will always be incomplete, not really satisfying for the separate me or I, like that. So we can try to change this and to say, no, I should not have desire. I should not look at any plate and control in the dream. I have no desire, or I control everything. I'm absolutely aware, but everything we'll do within the dream will be also temporary achievement, whether it lasts for long or not long. So the direction would be more to look at the origin, from where the attention is coming from. So we can call it the absolute attention, which is not divided. So we can call it the Garden of Eden, before to bite the apple or to touch or look at the tree of knowledge. The tree of knowledge is to use the mind and to say this is good, this is bad. Try to know yourself, trying to know your own creation. This is biting the apple or looking at the tree of knowledge. So that's why God said, don't bite the apple, stay as a child. You don't need to know yourself to be yourself. Just be yourself without knowing. Knowing without knowing. So, and then you are by not controlling anything, you are the absolute controller who does not need to control anything, like a child, because you don't have any idea of. Yes. So you are that which does not need to control, in spite of the I, which is tending to control. Grasp, push, I love, I hate, I want, I don't want. So this will never change. It's nature of the separate I to be like that. So when you see it as an appearance, not really as a reality, but as an appearance in the dream of time and space. So instead of trying to kill the I, because the I should not be there, I is wrong. No, I is an appearance. It's not really real. So it's more about seeing it as a phantom rather than trying to kill it. Because sometimes people stay stuck for a long time, 20 years in sadhana, trying to kill the I. But it will never happen because it's not real. So you cannot really kill it. But it's more about seeing that its nature is not real. So that's quite different. So that's very easy but complicated for the mind, because the mind needs to control, understand, practice, do this, do that. But for that, what you are, there is nothing to do, just to be. But also no need to control anything which is happening. If meditation happens, it happens. Nothing is wrong in that way. If bhakti, self-inquiry or any practice happen, it happens. But for what you are, it's not without the idea to reach somewhere, because you're already that, you're already home. Home or home, as you like. And so it's just something is happening. So nothing disturbs you, not even meditation. So then from there, where we go, what to do, we have no idea, it's just happening. No really destination, just moment by moment happening. Things are happening. And the control is seen as not real, the free will as fake. It's just an experience of free will, an experience of I, but it's not really real, it's an expression. Then who will control what? So that's my question to you. Do you have any idea? No, I was making a little bit joke, but anything you like to share or ask about that?
No, I'm thinking that you said the sun is shining to the plate.
Yes.
And there is no separation, but there is the sun and the plate. These are only two things, the reflection and the source. So
yes, right. But it's an expression, so it's not, no words can express the truth. So it's a pointer, but it's not, no words will be the truth. No words. Whatever anybody says cannot be the truth, because it's already an expression. So what is an expression? It's already in the dream. But it's a pointer. So it's not about staying stuck with the words, but what is behind the words. So this story with the plates and the sun is just a metaphor of the self. The sun will be the self, and the plates an expression. The plates, the separate plates, an expression of the self. But in truth they are not separate. But just to express it, we have to use relative words, which already makes them separate. But so it's not really. So if we stay with the words, then it does not work. It's like you listen to the word, but it's pointing to something, speaking to something else. Otherwise, you can turn around with words and go to talk satsang about Advaita and play with words for long, but it's not really about that. When I listen to words, like if I point to the moon, where this finger is pointing to, I have to look there, not really to the words. Where these words are pointing to. The mind tries to fix and understand, and that's normal. But this message is not really for the mind, it's for... At the same time, the mind tries to understand. But at the same time, this message is not, it's just self-to-self talk. The words are an excuse, like you catch attention, that the self can talk to itself and recognize itself. Does it make sense?
For example, this is everything. I mean, the whole universe. And where is the self?
The self is a word for this which cannot be expressed. So sometimes we call it the Tao. The Tao which can be named cannot be the eternal Tao. This is the first sentence of the Tao taking. The Tao which can be named is not the eternal Tao. So even to call it the Tao is already wrong. So what can we say about that which we cannot be expressed? So it's beyond expression, duality, the mind, words. We cannot. So we can only speak about it, but it's always wrong. In a way. But it doesn't matter. Because it's not about the words. It's like if there would be I speak with a word, but at the same time someone is with a bell. Gling. There is another sound, which is not really these words. And this sound is kind of speaking to itself. This is that, you are that permanent, or this unnameable, mysterious. We don't know what to say about it. We cannot say anything. But this is like I was saying, just knowing without knowing that I am that. There is no question, like a child, like the heart of a child. So we could say, just knowing without knowing. The mind need to have reason to know, and need to explain to others. But that which knows without knowing, knows without reason, knows by heart. I know I am that. So it's like internal yes, internal recognition that I am that I am that eternal self. But I cannot prove it to anyone, and I don't need to prove it. I just know it by heart. So when that is heard or recognized, that's about that. All the rest is futile, is for the mind.
So we need our
Louder?
We need the human body also to make this experience. I was thinking now, we saw before this dead man, when
Which man?
the dead man on
Ah,
the
yes,
path.
yes.
Yes. Because life is always, and in this life is that in the time where we are here in the body, we can make the experience of life because we are alive. But when we leave this body, so the body is there, but life is also there. But the body is not more, it's going to earth.
Yes.
It's going away.
Life is not dying, this is what you mean.
Yes, life is not
So
dying.
we are life.
We are, yes, we are alive, and we can experience it in the human body. But it's always there.
Yeah, it's an experience.
Yes.
It's an experience. Yes. It's an experience.
And also the eye is only possible because of this body.
It can be a physical body, or an astral body, or a causal body, any body,
Yes.
or a goddess body, or
but
an
us-
angel. Whatever body, there is always an identification I. So form is changing.
Yes.
But as soon as you are in this expression, then you are a separate entity. It appears like a separate entity wherever it is this plane or another plane.
And why the self needs to manifestate?
Sorry?
Why the self needs to manifestate?
This is the same as knowing without knowing. No reason will satisfy. Whatever explanation, we can say anything. We can say it's just for play, just entertainment, as Ramana Maharishi was saying that, just for play, at time. So we can say anything, but in truth, nothing will satisfy the mind. We can say anything. Why? Because why is mind, right? So why, like a friend of mine, she was asking to her dad, why the banana is curved? And the father said, because. Why the banana is curved? Why there is creation? Why the self need to express? Nothing will satisfy, because the question is coming from the mind, and the answer is, so there is no answer will satisfy. How can you say why the banana is curved? No answer. There is no. It's just like that, isn't it? So the same for the creation. Why? Who can say? Yes. Whatever the mind will say will not be.
Maybe it's the same question, but when? When did it start?
What?
When?
It started. So when? Yes, this is the same. Apply also only for mind. When? Because prior to I, or the expression, there is no when, because there is no time. So when it appears, when I come, the first I awareness appears from the absolute, first expression, then appear time and space, and in time and space there is all this also, when, why. So when, why belong to that. So the question will stay within, like I who want to disappear, but I belong to this, so I cannot leave this, as well as when and why. So what we're seeking for is not, no answer is there in this. There will be only relative answers. So the mind will never be satisfied. You can try, and it's good to try to be satisfied, but if you do it, you will see that it will be always temporary, or half satisfaction, partly satisfying, but not, yes, because it belongs to that relative space, isn't it? So why, when, how, I, the same theme. Yes. So you can look at the screen and all these questions. Sometimes I suggest to do that, to project on the screen in front of you anything coming in the mind, you put it on the screen and you look at it like just thoughts, and you don't need to buy it. You pretend you have no money. It's like a supermarket of everything, every idea, concept, but you don't buy anything. Then easy, something comes, you see. It's just a thought. Whatever is said is just a thought. But for that, for what we are, the self, it has no meaning.
Self is looking at the screen.
And so it can be like said like that, but it can sound like separate, or it can be an absolute perception, which is not separate. So we can say that whatever is absolute, with a block letter, capital, so we can say absolute attention with a capital letter, absolute perception. So absolute perception is not divided. There is not a subject perceiving an object.
So because there is this thing that be the witness.
Yes, so this is within the experience of time and space. Witnessing what is witnessed, right? But
there is no separation.
In this there is separation, but for that, what we are, there is no separation. So we can call it absolute perception, absolute attention. So in its absolute nature, it's not separate, but when it expresses itself, then attention becomes separate. Perception becomes separate. So both is just one and same things. But one is expressed in duality and one not. We can say like that. So from the
So actually the witness, it's not existing.
Sorry?
The witness is not existing either.
It's an appearance in the expression or dream, you call it as you like. So the witness is an expression like these bodies, this chair, this all the separate objects are an expression in the field of time and space. It's an expression. So it has a apparent existence, but it's just an appearance which is coming and going. Like I, the first, if you come back, trace it back to the origin, from the unmanifested, first is, you can call it the first sound or the first I, whatever, from which angle you see it, but the first expression. So when it comes out, then already the seed of separation is there. So the first expression then create another I, 2, 3, 4 million, billions of separate I, and everybody is I. Everybody say I. So everybody is always competition already. When first I come, then it's a competition of I, me. Everybody is me. Say no, me, this me, no, this me, no, this me. Everybody is, yes. I'm the best. So it's a natural, and this also like the plates and the sun. So every little light in the plate is like little me with a shining, like showing the glory of the big me, the absolute me. So every me is like, oh, that's me, and that's real. This arrogance, the seed of this arrogance is the reflection of the absolute me. Because everybody feel, oh, that's me, oh, no, that's me, like that. So it's, in that way you can see it's a very natural movement, even this arrogance. Nothing wrong when you see it from that angle. Because you recognize also the flavor of the self in that. Whether it's me like this or me like that, me tend to be in this way, concave or convex. That's why sometimes we need the master and the slave, and they go together. Then they can go like that, master and slave. So one need to be like that, and one need to be like that, to complete each other. But they're both me. Whether the slave or the master, they are both me. Negative and positive, we could say. Good, bad, or whatever opposites like that. Then you can see that it's all me everywhere. In every form, it's all me. But I pretend that it's another me for the sake of play. I pretend that that's you. So then I call it this me. Instead of saying me, I say you, and she, and he, and they, and like that. So I don't call them me. But if my parents would have called everybody me, then I would do the same. I would call everybody me. But for sake of playing the game, we put names and you and she and he and so on. But imagine a world where everybody would call everyone me. It's a funny experience.
We can experience this feeling or sensation in meditation. So we will not understand but feel what we are talking about.
Yeah, experience of any feeling, perception is happening, but what we can notice is a tendency of I, me, to avoid what is here. So if there is a, for example, I feel like that very clearly that, oh, there is an expression of anger which want to come out, or an expression of sadness or anything. But because something does not want to feel the discomfort of that, because maybe the judge said, no, you should not express that, you should not feel that. So then you tend to go on the side, on the mind, and take a mask and pretend to stay there, to not express that movement which is coming. So instead of being absolutely relative and to be an expression without moving away from that, you tend to go away and to be in the mask and armor and protection. So the natural movement of expression is not there. Then the what wanted to be expressed and is pushed somewhere in the system. And this is what creates disease and troubles and so on. So to be absolutely relative is also the absolute hidden in the relative. But it's an absolute expression in the relative without avoiding like that. So that's why noticing the movement, the tendency of I to avoid what discomfort, running after comfort, is somehow you can call it a practice, but just noticing this, nothing to do, nothing to fix, just noticing the tendency of avoidance of what is here to express itself without mask or anything. Then because when you express, something is expressed like that, probably you have been experiencing that, when it is expressed naturally, then you feel good, even if it was anger or something else.
Without control.
But it was raw. But yeah, but if you control that because it's not right, then after you feel bad because it stays somewhere in the system. Oh, I should have said that and so on. So the best pointer, which is still in the dream, but which is closest to, which is in fact also the absolute, is to be absolutely relative. To follow that. Sometimes I feel I need to do that, something, I have a choice to make, and I feel, oh, that is, I feel very much right to do that. But by fear of expressing that, if I say something, I'm afraid somebody will react like this or like that. By fearing the consequences of expressing that, then I hide on the side and don't follow that. So I follow that. And then by doing that, I cheat myself. So I don't cheat anybody, I cheat myself. And I do. So this will stay somewhere. And I create layers and layers in the system. And then after millions of lives, you absolutely don't know what you are because or you are stuck with so many layers of patterns and vasanas or whatever you want to call it, like that. Because always tendency to hide somewhere like that and not to just be you. So be as you are, be that what you are, relatively. By being that, expressing that like that, you are the absolute expressing itself relatively. It means you are in your fearlessness, you don't fear expression of anything. Otherwise, we stay in the fear of being yourself, and this fear makes you not following, expressing that like that. So that's also practical. It's not just talking about the absolute and this like that, but it's also how it is grounded in the experience. So be absolutely relative. Be as you are, would say Ramana Maharishi. Be as you are. This is be as you are. This is be pretend, play some roles and mask and armor protection. So be as you are. For that you don't have to do anything, just to be, and notice the tendency of I to go on any side. So easy. Because there is nothing to do for that. Just to be. Be yourself. And you will notice sometimes we by not being yourself, you don't help others in a relative sense, as long as we believe there is others, but in the dream of separation, by not being yourself, sometimes you play the game of the mind of others by not being like that. But if you really be as you are, in this raw expression, this is the best help in the dream for others, because you are like that. You just say no, and whatever happen around, you don't care. And people around in the experience might learn more from that than to try to cheat and to please others and to be like that. So it's the best help for yourself and others, which does not exist. Who does not exist.
But these layers or masks you are talking about, that sometimes we don't know who we are in a practical way, because we don't even know about the mask.
But you don't need to know.
Too much,
You just recognize this vibration. It's like a music. If you just learn to recognize, it's like you divide the God's will into two wills. The God's will or intuition, you can call it, which does not need time and space to express itself, right? And the mind's will, who need the reflection, consideration to express itself. So this is like two different expressions. So if you learn to just listen to that clear sound, oh, I know I have to do that, I don't know why, but I just follow that. It's just intuition. No time and space. Just come from nowhere. I know. Everything, maybe everything outside is contradicting that gut feeling, but still I feel I have to follow that. It's so clear. It's a clear sound, like a bell again. Cling. So ting. And the other sound is like. That's why often we say the first sound, the first idea, the first impulse is a good one, because it comes from nowhere, from no time. The gut feeling, intuition. But afterwards the mind comes, oh, maybe this, like that, this. So you don't need really to know what is what, just recognizing this straight line or this line, like that. When you, for example, you have a choice, sometimes it's not, you don't know, it's not clear, then it doesn't matter, you do whatever, because ultimately it's also to look at the ownership of any business which is happening. Is this I real? Does this I has really a free will, a control on whatever happening? And even this movement of coming from here to here, or just following that, is still in the dream, because there is a kind of either the energy is going there or staying here, following that. So it's still in the dream, we could say. But it's the closest. That what we are does not need that. Does not need anything. It's already perfect. It's already the absolute satisfaction. But to have the smoothest experience in this dream, to follow that, it's much more smooth. I don't know if it's correct in English. I guess so. Yes. Yes. And it's you feel it's like I feel myself. When you follow that, you feel, oh, but So good. Whatever, joy, sadness, anger, whatever expression is, feels that natural movement. Whether it is comfort or discomfort, but it's not avoided, it's expressed. It's so like that. So nothing wrong with sadness or some other thing. Joy, nothing is touching you, not even joy. So sounds easy.
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 But still so many people are coming here.
Yes, you see, so many people are here.
Coming to Tiru,
Yeah.
looking for something.
Yes, but so good you say that, because it's a natural tendency of energy, prakriti. When energy is out, Shakti. Shakti is always moving, searching for something, always need to complete itself. So that's why it's the seeking part. I'm seeking myself everywhere. Whether in ice cream, in a lover, in God, in an ashram, in whatever. You're always seeking for yourself. Oh, where I am? Where I am? Every corner. Tiru, South America. So once the first expression, I, or the first sound, whatever it is, you call it, first it's out, is already, the seed of separation is there. So once separated, it naturally need to look for something to complete itself. So then the movement of Shakti is already out, on. So Shakti is looking for itself. Oh, I come to Tiru, I will look for myself. And nothing wrong. Only for the seeker or the separate I, it seems wrong. But for that, the self, nothing wrong. Its expression is like that. So it's seeking itself. Oh, where I am. Romeo and Juliet and all this story, looking for my God, my beloved, and this. So Shakti is playing. It's its natural movement. So instead of trying to control Shakti movement, you see it as totally natural. So what's wrong with Shakti? It's my expression. So I let it express itself as it likes. Because I see that I have no control. I might believe that I have control, but from there, from what I am, it is seen that there is no control. It's not a real control. Shakti or energy is moving by itself. There is no control. The control is illusory. It's part of the experience of Shakti. Illusion. So the feeling of ownership and free will is part of the experience of Shakti in the dream. So it's all normal. So it's not about changing that, it's about seeing that this is just an expression which has no, it's not, which is just an expression. We don't even need to say that it's real or not real. It's already going into the words and mind, so you can say that, but it's just an expression. Like that. So, and it's not stopping. So, if you, from the absolute reference point of view, if we can say there is no beginning and no end, so, but in the expression it seems there is a beginning and an end. But when we look for it, we can't find it. Scientific try to find the beginning and the end, but the more they go, the less they find. And the same for space. They go as far as they can to the space, So the stars, universe, the more they go, the more it expands. So the joke is that God is playing with the seeker, energy seeking itself, and the more it tries to find itself, the more it expands. No hand. Try to come more, search more, come. So it's like you attract like that, and then the player is say, come, come. It's like a dance, but there is no hand, because there is no beginning, really. So how can there be an end? There is an appearance of beginning, an appearance of end, but it's an appearance.
Never ending story.
Never ending story, because never beginning story.
Never beginning story.
Yes. If you try to search from that understanding, beginning, end, you will never get satisfied. But to see it as just an appearance, not taking it as real, just as an expression, which has no consistency. If you see only with the eyes or the ears, the relative ears and eyes, then you see a beginning and an end. But with the absolute eye or the absolute ear, you clearly see that there is no beginning, no end. So this is a different vision. These eyes and ears will never tell you the truth. That's why the words you cannot believe, and what you see you cannot believe. So you may use another instrument, your absolute ear or your absolute eye, to see that all this expression is just an expression.
We need to do enjoy.
Yeah, enjoy whatever. Enjoy comfort and discomfort.
Suffer.
Yes.
Suffer doesn't matter.
Yeah, pain, pleasure, enjoy whatever expression is there. Then just be what you are, and let the balance, this movement is going on. It appears to go on. This, what you are, we could say like that, which is absolute stability, dreaming to be doing this, dreaming to do this movement. So this absolute stability is dreaming to do that. So, but this is not affecting that. So you just let movement, the apparent movement happening. Seeing that the control is not real and that energy is moving by itself. So what's the problem? Then we don't know. Problem is only for when you're identified with I, who think you need to control and that there is something wrong. So it's a hidden simplicity. We are the absolute simplicity, dreaming to be very complicated. Why not? It's like the banana, why not? Any sharing or comment, question, disagreement, fighting, laughing, dancing? Yeah, energy, Shakti can do anything. Sometimes get up and dance. What to do? If you are good, we can stop here. Up to you. Do you have any? Anything to which is not clear?
Everything.
Sorry?
Now we know everything.
We know without knowing, so we don't need to hear anything. So absolutely satisfied? The mind may say no, but you don't need to believe it.
Actually, maybe I'm waiting for some experience or experience.
Ah.
Not here, not now,
Yes.
at all.
Yes. So I is an expression of energy, Shakti, whatever you call it. And I, feeling not complete, always wait for some more. But more is for I, or for energy. Expression. But for what you are, more or less has no meaning. You are the absolute satisfaction, and you have no idea what is more or less. But I need more. So you think when I go to some place and I am in bliss, I am more myself. This is this is a trap. Because it's all an expression of the self. Right now, this is how the self is expressing itself. So it's always an expression of the self, whether it is bliss or shit. But having a preference for bliss, it makes us run after bliss and turning back to the shit. So we want only one side of the coin. That's what is perpetuating the movement of Shakti. Running after comfort and running away from discomfort. Pleasure and not pain. So then that's how the friction, no, of energy. You need out energy will move, so you need some friction. So we could say the friction is this turning away and searching for pleasure, comfort, fulfillment. That's how we move. Otherwise, it's just one hand cannot clap. But like this, with some reason, I need bliss. It's already movement. I need ice cream. I need this. I need. Yes. Because this is boring for I. You know? So I need. But if you take any expression as it comes without preference, then it's all an expression of the self. So when I'm in bliss, good. I'm in shit, good. I am in love, good. I am in no love, I am in. Yes. This preference is the trouble. Preference is I. I prefer this rather than that. But it's not that by trying to control this I, I don't need to prefer something. No, it's being that what you are in spite of the I preferring this or not. You are that which has no preference. But you don't mind the I to have any preference. That doesn't mind at all that I prefer a coffee rather than a tea. So this is addressed to that what you are, not to I. I will have preference. So what? Nothing wrong with preference for I. But for what you are, no preference. Whether whatever. So is it more clear now?
Yes.
Is also clarity is another trap. Always trying to be more clear, wanting more clarity. But that what we are is not even disturbed by the wish of clarity. Why not? It's like you are not disturbed by anything, even by the seeking of liberation or clarity or this. Let energy move. Energy wants liberation. Samadhi. Anything. You are absolutely generous. So energy can try to get anything, including liberation.
For example, the eye of Ramana was preferred to sit in the cave.
Sorry?
The eye of Ramana was preferring to sit in the cave.
Yes, but it was already seen that energy was going by itself to the cave. There is not, he already demystified the illusory ownership and preference. It was happening by itself.
Yes, but if he...
So there is an appearance of I preferring this, but in fact it's just happening. So, but as long as I am seeing an I, then it appears that there is an I choosing. But when you see this movement is just natural movement, just happening, there is not even, I is seen as totally illusory. It's just, this is to say that, because if you say that, oh, this guy has no eye anymore, then you make it special. And this position is already a special position because you still have an eye, right? So you have, it makes you feel you have to reach that state without an eye.
Mm-hmm.
So it's already postponing, like the priest, the religion tell you to go to heaven, you have to do that. To reach nirvana, the Buddhist will tell you that. So always, the devil is always very tempting. Tell you, if you do that, you will get there. This is the devil tempting you all the time. So if you have no eye, you will be there. Devil, you don't need to listen to that. Whether you have an eye or no eye, who cares? You are that now, already. So the eye go or not, coming and going, or yes. Otherwise, any other message makes you relative, makes you a beggar, waiting for the eye to go. So when you are absolutely impatient, then you cannot wait anymore. You have been tired of hearing all this message, promises about heaven, nirvana, liberation, no I, all this whatever, bliss state, eye awareness, so many promises. So it makes you a beggar, expecting for something to happen to be what you are. When you're absolutely tired, then you don't buy anything, and then you can hear, Tatwam Asi, you are that. So for that you need to be absolutely tired of all the promises.
Or just
Searching. And when it is heard, then you even don't mind the energy continuing to seek itself. It does not disturb what you are. Otherwise, still always promises of the devil. Something need to happen. Something, wait a bit, something need to happen. Very promising. So we can let the devil play like a child. So, child need to play, the devil need to play. What's wrong? And he could continue to tempt you. Try this, maybe you will reach this or that. Yes. But once you recognize the face, then you know it's not real. It's like an appearance. So you don't take it as real somehow. It's an appearance. But it's very tempting because so many nice things you can experiment, so many planes and this and that, and very high consciousness, awareness, states, samadhi, whatever. So it's very, yes. So maybe, who knows, maybe only after you have been testing all these states and experiences and planes, and maybe you have been Indra, the god of the gods, and you have been experiencing whatever, even that is not satisfying you. Even being the god of the gods is not enough for what you are. So you need to come back in a human form, maybe to be able to hear that nothing will satisfy you, ever, because you are satisfaction itself. The microphone. So sometimes the mind does not like to hear that, but or sometimes might be happy, who knows. So dance. So dance is dancing without dancer. So good enough? Tired enough?
No, it's good. Now it's good.
Yes. Who knows? No problem to look for bliss and samadhi and all this stuff. Why not? Nothing wrong. It's like samadhi. Who knows? It's like a big ice cream, giant ice cream. What? For 500 years, I will be with my giant ice cream, ma samadhi, this, that. And then when it will be melted, the ice cream, again, oh my God, back to business. So, should we stop here? Or you have some any comment or question? No?
No?
No? We are fully ripe.
Thank you.
Thank you. So